Welcome back. Today I want to go over my favorite Market Cipher exclusive trading strategy, the Blue Wave strategy. This you can use on any stock or crypto. Anything with a chart that you can trade on, you can use this Blue Wave strategy. And it takes into account all of the tools of Market Cipher A and B. But primarily, it focuses on the blue momentum wave and the money flow wave, with additional help from Market Cipher A symbols, the two RSIs, and even the VWAP. So with the blue wave strategy, first we're looking for an anchor wave and a trigger wave. An anchor wave is a fat, deep initial wave. We want to go at least below this white line and dotted line. It's got to go deep. And then the trigger wave should be smaller, noticeably smaller afterwards. And I want you to look at how the coloring changes within the wave itself. Look closely at this. You see how the light blue will abruptly change into a dark blue? That light blue changes into a dark blue. That signifies a trend change, a reversal. So keep those colors in mind. But that's just one half of it. Remember, if you look at the chart, we're seeing yellow X's, it's going straight down, we don't know what's going on. People are freaking out, they're trying to leave. This was render about a year ago. And I noticed something different. First I see my anchor wave and trigger wave, but the cash flow's red. But look at how it's moving. So on July 14th of 2022, I entered along right here. That's what this blue line is. So imagine me, back then, I didn't know what was going to happen afterwards. But I made a prediction based on what Market Cipher was giving me. So I have my anchor wave and my trigger wave. That's a good start. But most importantly, look at this cash flow. This smooth, round shape to the cash flow. If it's choppy like this, I can't predict it. But I want a smooth transfer of money. Very nice. So it's moving out and then moving back in a steady, predictable manner. So on this day, I saw this curvature. And I go, I think this pattern that has strength and consistency to it already, if this continues, would likely enter the green somewhere around early August. Remember, this is the future. We didn't see any of this yet. I think it's going to go into the green somewhere in early August. And that's probably when I'll consider taking profits. And so here's what I did. For visual purposes, you have your anchor wave and your trigger wave. And your entry point is right at when the light blue turns into the dark blue on the trigger wave. So right there. Boom. I entered along. And I stayed. I watched the momentum wave continue on up for the next few days. And then I saw it enter the dark blue, which could signify a change of direction. I could have taken profits of 24% after 7 days, and nobody would have blamed me. But I went, you know what? I think we can do better. Because at this point, I'm watching the money flow continue on this smooth path. This is very smooth and predictable movement. And so I stayed in. And I watched my profits continue up as the money flow moved as predicted. I'm in the green. Okay, we're good. The momentum is still up there. We're still in the green. And then I started seeing some red diamonds. Momentum's pulling downwards, and I left right here. So instead of 7 days at 24% profit, I stayed in for nearly a month, 27 days, for a 55% profit. And that was using Market Cipher's Blue Wave strategy, focusing on the money flow, the nice smooth movement, the anchor wave, and the trigger wave. This can actually work both ways. For instance, right after that, We're at the top, right? I'm hanging around, I'm watching render, and now I see another trigger wave going the opposite way. And so, at this point, money flow was a little choppy, but I was sitting pretty on some profits. And so what I did is let's mark my next entry. My next entry was right about here. So go, all right, I see another opportunity for the blue wave strategy, only this time with a short. So we'll take the peak of the previous wave right here and just draw it to this trigger wave. I'll enter right here. And so I did. Entered right here, and I rode that momentum wave down, down, down. And then took my money here. I could have continued, but I took a 20% profit on the short over the next week. What you could do is you could kind of squeeze, maybe the cash flow is going to continue rolling smoothly, but it was too early to tell at that point. It wasn't like I had all this data like last time. I had this long pattern of movement to watch for. This was kind of early and choppy, and I wasn't sure yet. So I took my 20% profit and ran. Another example was with Polkadot. This was around the same time, June, July of 22. I noticed cash flow was doing something similar. Nice and smooth and round. It's in the red, so people are freaking out, but I'm watching how it's moving. And so I see an anchor wave. And then maybe a trigger wave here, but I wasn't sure yet. It was still kind of early in the cash flow. I was like, well, maybe it'll keep going down. I didn't know yet. But then I saw this second wave, and I go, okay, now I see the cash flow pulling upwards in a pretty consistent way. And so if I'm going to stretch out time, I go, it'll probably turn in the green somewhere in the mid to late August. Now remember, at this point, it was July 14th. So this is when I went, yeah, I think money flow is going to keep moving the way it is. Because look at this. This is a few weeks of smooth movement upwards. I'm going to extrapolate that it'll continue to about mid to late August, and that's when I'll take my profits. And so I entered along right here. And then I rode that momentum wave as it went up, 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 up. And I could have taken profits here at 20%. Nobody would have blamed me. But I'm watching that cash flow. I see it continue moving in the way that I liked. And I wasn't under much pressure. So I stayed in the trade. It was just a spot trade, no fees. And I go, okay, I'm going to keep going. I figured it would be mid to late August when we enter the green. So when I entered, I stayed and I waited and I waited, and I'm watching this momentum go up and up and up. And then we enter the green. Holy smokes, look at all this money we're making. And then it started to pull back down. And I went, okay, I'll leave. And I took a 46% profit after 1 month, 31 days. And that's with Polkadot. Nobody was talking about Polkadot at the time. Couple of good opportunities here. Here's another one. Kava, same time. We have our anchor wave and a follow-up trigger wave. And the cash flow is moving in a smooth direction. So you would enter right here. For visual reference, we even have a green dot. This is a deep, deep anchor wave. Right there. You would enter along right here. And then you take yourself 6% profit, 6.5% profit in 4 days. But then you run into a blood diamond and you pull out. Easy little scalp trade, spot, no big deal. And then later on with Kava, oh, look at this. This was in February, March. Everybody was riding high, nice big bull run here. Money flows on the way up, okay. Is it going to go into the green? It could. Turns out it didn't. There was no blue wave strategy for me to follow, so I didn't trade any of this. But then I did see a nice short opportunity with Kava. Because we had a big anchor wave, and a follow-up trigger wave. So I go, okay. For visual reference, I'm going to do it right there. See where that light blue turns into dark blue? Right there. That's when I'm going to enter my short here. And I rode that momentum all the way down to the next major wave when the light blue turned into dark blue. That signifies a trend change. And so after 13 days, boop, I left, and I took 18% profit on that short. You look at your different assets every morning, different time frames, and you go, do I see any of these waves setting up? Not yet. I'm not seeing an anchor or a trigger just yet on any of these. And so, well, we got one here maybe. Cash flow is kind of rolling smoothly. This is Luna 2. I don't know who's buying that right now. Right here, we got a trigger wave, perhaps. Money flows in the green. You could have, theoretically, entered along here, and you're at like 5% in 12 hours. Not bad. Nice little scalp trade. If you're doing some leverage, 5-10x there in half a day, that's big money. Are there any other examples we can dig around for? And you're just kind of hanging back and waiting for that setup. Don't force it. You can do different time frames of the same asset. And I'm just looking for past examples. And so sometimes you're watching waves, and you see one come about halfway down, and then you see what could be a trigger wave at the time. But it didn't really end up being much. And that's because this anchor wave wasn't very deep. There wasn't much conviction or movement going on here. And the money flow is kind of choppy. So look, if you were to try your blue wave strategy here and jump in along, what do you make, 0.5%? Like that's not good enough in 4 hours. So sometimes you're looking at waves and you're going, is this an anchor? Is this a trigger? Well, they're not different enough. And so the money flow's coming, it goes up and down, and that's smooth. Okay, cool. But let's say you do the blue wave strategy here anyway. You might get a move, but it's going to be very shallow. 1.6%. We want big differences in the waves. So if you're doing scalp trading with some leverage, that could be interesting for you. But I don't feel like stressing out over 1,000 trades a day, to be honest. So if I'm looking for a big difference in the anchor versus the trigger, plus the smooth money flow, which this is not. So although the waves look attractive, let's say you were to do this, you see this move right here, and you go, oh, I can short this. So you jump into short right here, and you ride that momentum all the way down. Yeah, you made profit, but it was 1.5% in 13 hours. So if you're willing to stay in a leveraged trade for 13 hours, that's a good scalp. If that's what you're into, you could do that. Here's another example on a close time frame with Cosmos. This is on the 5-minute chart. And so the price movement is much smaller, and so people who do these kinds of trades are usually using some kind of leverage. Let's say 5-10x leverage. So you're seeing, this is when we would jump in theoretically, July 19th, so we don't know any of this yet, okay? This blue line is that's when we jumped in, theoretically. So you're looking at the money flow. Looking nice and round, could be better, but it's getting there, we see a trend. And so I would then extrapolate, hey, if it continues this trend, which looks pretty strong, it should probably enter the green in a couple hours. So I see what looks to be like an S movement of the money. So it's kind of round, it's coming in, it's coming back up. It should do something like that, right? That's what we would predict at the time. All right, so that part looks interesting. Now, what about the blue waves? Do we have an anchor wave and a trigger wave? Yeah, we kind of do. This anchor wave is not as deep as I would like. I usually like them down here past this solid line at least. A green dot is nice too. Like, see, this one's going to be a big theoretical anchor wave. If you get a trigger wave after that, I like this one as an opportunity. But this is all we know at this point, okay, in this example. You could say this is my anchor wave, and then this little nodule here is my trigger wave. Now it's shallow because we're on the 5 minute, we're looking at fractions of a percent here, but the strategy works all the same. So you would jump in along right here and ride that momentum up, 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 all the way. Oh, well, we could take a 1% profit, but at 10x leverage after an hour, that's a 10% gain. Not bad. You could stick with it and see if the cash flow continues that smooth movement it had so far and hang out. Oh, look at this. We predicted it would do this. And now you're at 1.4%, 10x leverage. That's a 14% profit in just over 3 hours. So all in all, you can be picky. I mean, look, we found one example across the entire day. So don't force a trade. If you're not confident in it, you want to see smooth money movements like this. Here's another one that could get you. Let's see if this would work out. You see the smooth money flow. You see the anchor wave. And then the trigger wave. Looks good. So for visual purposes, we jump in right here. We do along at this exact moment. How much juice do we get out of it? Whoops, wrong tool. How much juice do we get out of it? 0.6%, 10x leverage. That's a 6% gain in 25 minutes. But then you may have gone, well, I thought the cash flow would have continued. It didn't. It caught short, didn't quite do what we were hoping for. But at least you took a small profit in a scalp trade with a little bit of leverage. So the idea is small wins and big wins. But don't force the trade. If you don't see something that you're confident in, you don't have to make a trade. But if you have multiple assets, you got 20 things in your portfolio, and you got all these different time frames, stick to your time frame, look at the charts, and see if there's something you like. If it's not right for you, if you're not confident in the move, don't make the move. But if you see some things, you're getting multiple points that you like, you see the smooth money flow, you see the anchor wave and the trigger wave, give it a shot. You know? Look at this one. 0.5%, 25 minutes. Am I excited about that? Not at all. But at this point, if you're zoomed in on the 5-minute time frame, you're probably using leverage. 5, 10x. 10x leverage on an easy half-hour trade like this, might as well take the money. Take what it gives you. Now you saw how easy that was. Use the blue wave strategy and countless others with Market Cipher today. Go to marketciphertrading.com, sign up, get the indicator, and join us on Discord. Learn from the masters there and push your trading skills to the next level. You deserve it.